Being up here in this Dharma seat is a great honor and also slightly terrifying. But all of it together is a chance for me to study and learn, to reflect on this path we are on, this Buddha way. I'm grateful to my teacher, Galen Roshi, for this opportunity, as well as for her patience, guidance, and her continued encouragement to extend my horizons and to grow. Thank you. As many of you know, we have been studying the teachings of Dogen Zenji, our Zen ancestor who lived and taught from 1200 to 1250. Each Sunday, we have discussed a fascicle from Dogen's Shobo Genzo, or the treasury of the true Dharma Eye. Today, I will be talking about Butsudo, the way of the Buddhas, or the Buddha way, depending on the translation. This was presented to the assembly of the Yoshimine Temple in 1243. Dogen starts the fascicle by saying, "We Nung, old Buddha Chao Shi, once instructed the assembly. From myself to the 7 original Buddhas of the past, we count 40 ancestors." Dogen goes on to say that this is the Buddha's authentically transmitted instruction. He continues, "In the same way that Shakyamuni Buddha studied with Kashyapa Buddha, masters and disciples exist to this day. In this way, the treasury of the true Dharma Eye has been handed down from person to person. The essential life of Buddha Dharma is just this authentic transmission." By beginning in this way, Dogen is reminding us that the Buddhist teachings and our practice have been passed down directly through our lineage, our ancestors, and onward to us. Butsudo is the tradition of the Buddhas, the authentic teachings, practices, people, and institutions descended from the Buddhas. We are part of this living lineage, which is present right here, right now. He is quite passionate about the importance of understanding, expounding, and transmitting what he sees as the authentic teaching of the Buddha. He says, "I made a vow to myself, however unsuited I may be, I will become an authentic holder of the Buddha Dharma, receiving authentic transmission of the true Dharma, and with compassion show the Buddha ancestors authentically transmitted Dharma robes to those in my land." I'll repeat it again and notice how many times he says authentic in that one sentence. "I made a vow to myself, however unsuited I may be, I will become an authentic holder of the Buddha Dharma, receiving authentic transmission of the true Dharma, and with compassion show the Buddha ancestors authentically transmitted Dharma robes to those in my land." And look at us now, almost 800 years later, sitting together in our assembly, discussing Dogen every Sunday. It worked. The treasury of the true Dharma Eye has been handed down from person to person for centuries. Perhaps this is your first time here and the first time you experienced our morning service, our chanting, our lighting incense, our bowing. Or you have been coming for a while and are very familiar with our practice and rituals. I love all of these rituals, not only because I find them beautiful and they place me in the middle of this tradition, but because they connect me to this ancient tradition, to this lineage that has been passed down from person to person. And they have been practiced in basically the same way for centuries. During the full moon ceremony, which we had here 2 weeks ago, we bow and pay homage to our ancestors. We chant homage to the succession of ancestors, homage to the 7 Buddhas before Buddha. Last month, I was lucky to spend 5 days at Green Gulch Farm, a Soto Zen practice center and farm that is part of the San Francisco Zen Center. Shunryu Suzuki, a beloved teacher in our Zen lineage, founded the San Francisco Zen Center, Tassajara, and Green Gulch Farm, and gave Dharma transmission to our founder, Tenshin Reb Anderson. Suzuki Roshi's lineage includes Zen groups throughout the United States, including our auspicious Cloud Temple. The Zendo and surroundings at Green Gulch are imbued with Suzuki's presence. As I sat zazen and heard the creaking of the big barn that is now the Zendo, I thought about him walking and teaching right there. I imagined him working in the fields where we helped pick beans and spinach and laid down irrigation pipes. I felt a deep gratitude for what he passed on to us, the authentic teachings that come directly from the Buddha. While I was there, we participated in a Sejiki ceremony, which is a ceremony that honors those who have died and summons the hungry ghosts so we can offer them food and ease their suffering. The ceremony we have here at our Zen Center every year. It involves making a lot of noise with instruments and noisemakers. And in this case, it even included the abbot, Jiryo, yelling quite dramatically. And I was standing not far from him. I was participating in a ceremony rooted in ancient traditions and scriptures passed down through centuries and connected to the ancestors and sages of our lineage. I have to add that when the noisemaking stopped and we were in silence, coyotes in the vicinity started howling. Wow, talk about connection. Returning to the important point Dogen is making in this fascicle, the way of the Buddhas is connecting to the living truth transmitted through past Buddhas up to the present. Thank you. In this fascicle, Dogen is quite critical of distinguishing Zen by sect, of naming schools, arguing that these divisions are not characteristic of the original way. The original way is the dharma of Buddha after Buddha and ancestor after ancestor from warm hand to warm hand. At first glance, I had trouble with his harsh words, as he admonished those who gave names to different schools. But as I studied and meditated on them, I realized that he is actually reassuring us. He says, and if this sounds repetitive, it is because I'm partly repeating a quote from the beginning of this talk. In the same way that Shakyamuni Buddha studied with Kasyapa Buddha, masters and disciples exist to this day. In this treasury, in this way, the treasury of the true Dharma I has been handed down from person to person. The essential life of Buddha Dharma is just this authentic transmission. Because Buddha Dharma is authentically transmitted in this way, it is the direct succession of entrusting. This being so, the function, the essence of the Buddha way is present with nothing lacking. This has been transmitted from India to China for 18,000 li. It has been transmitted from Buddha's lifetime to the present day for over 2,000 years. Let me repeat the words I find reassuring and comforting. This being so, the function, the essence of the Buddha way is present with nothing lacking. The way of the Buddhas, or Butsudo, is the living truth transmitted through past Buddhas up to the present. It is universal. The Buddha way is something we awaken into. It's something already present with nothing lacking. It goes beyond names, schools, concepts, and words. I have been reading Becoming Yourself, a compilation of Shunryu Suzuki's teachings. In the chapter entitled The Great Sages, Are You Yourself? Suzuki Roshi says, if you can express yourself fully while sitting in zazen without dreaming of anything, that is the actual practice that includes everything. If you have that practice, Buddha is with you, Bodhidharma is with you, and every sage should be with you. He goes on to say, how is it possible for Buddha or the great sages to exist forever? The only way is for them to exist with us. When you think about the sages, they are with you in some form. And when you do not think about them, they are also with you. This point should not be forgotten. He ends this chapter by saying, I'm always happy to see people here from various religions. You don't have to feel that Zen Center is a special building for Soto Zen priests. Here we are all doing our best to live with people in its true sense. That's all. As Dogen emphasized so many years ago, it's not about labels or schools or titles. It is about being our authentic selves, and the Buddha way is the way of awakening. It's always happening, and it is not apart from our practice. It is something we awaken into, something already present, alive, active, and immediate. In addition, all Buddhas are actualized and sustained by our continuous practice. We are participating in the same dynamic flow that all Buddhas have always participated in. We are not waiting to be ready. The way is now. The Buddha way is happening in each moment of sincere, wholehearted practice. When we wholeheartedly sit, when we bow, when we chant, when we sweep the porch, when we clean the toilet, when we pull the weeds, when we prepare food, and when we take care of each other. Everything is sacred. It is the ongoing, ever-present expression of awakened activity. Though just sitting or zazen is central to our practice, Dogen reminds us that it is part of all activities. As Suzuki Roshi says, to practice constantly in your mind, there should be no gap from one practice to another. No gap between your practice of zazen, your practice of generosity, and your observance of the precepts. If you have the right understanding, these are all aspects of one practice. So what does this mean for me in my life, in my interaction with you and with the world? As I studied Dogen, the word authenticity kept coming up. In the editor's introduction of Kaz Tanahashi's translation of the Shobogenzo, it says, being authentic for Dogen means being true not only to the tradition, but to the particularity of each person's experience, which is intuitive and fresh. What beautiful words, and what a great lesson in how to interact with the world in a compassionate manner, beginning with ourselves. In August, Jiryu, the abbot at Green Gulch, was here giving a Dharma talk. He spoke about the precepts being a way to be our authentic selves. The precepts are a set of ethical guidelines for Buddhist practitioners. He said, the precepts help us to live in harmony and support others, how to avoid evil and practice what is good, how to embody and really actualize the world, in the world, our love for each other. The precepts help us to become who we truly are, which is innately loving and totally intimate with everything. It's being our actual authentic self. That's how we observe all of this list of rules about how to be a good person. The precepts are a guide in how to live in this world and how to interact with each other. They help us to take our practice and our authentic selves out into the world, to have an awareness of a person's place, including our own, in this trajectory. This awareness involves openness and flexibility. This being connected and in tune with what we encounter is the way of the Buddhas. Last week, Reverend Tim Shorey spoke of compassion, also central to our practice. He spoke of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, who hears the cries of the world. We are called to kindness and compassion in our interactions with ourselves and in our interactions with the world. Compassion is an integral part of the Buddha way. Often it begins with small, steady moments of presence at critical times. When we come back to the stillness within, we begin to touch the world with more care. While talking to Galen Roshi, the word integrity came up. Perhaps living with integrity is another way of being our authentic selves. In his book, Storehouse of Treasures, Nelson Foster, an American Zen teacher, has a lot to say about integrity and what it means in different cultures and traditions. He talks about two types of integrity: an internal, more private integrity, and a public, more outward integrity. And a public, more outward integrity, and it could be a topic for a whole separate Dharma talk. He quotes a Confucian text that says, integrity on the inside shapes what is outside. He also quotes Zen Master Grishan, who said to the assembly, wayfarers' minds are upright, without pretense, without front and back, without deceit or illusion, either at heart or in behavior. He discusses how in the Zen tradition, integrity can be an integral part of our practice and of harmony in our sanghas, and hopefully beyond, especially during these times. This once again takes me back to my practice and the role of integrity in my life. I think a wholehearted practice inclines us to integrity. When we face each moment with honesty and sincerity, perhaps it is possible to actualize integrity in our heart and in our behavior. I think our continued practice involves great faith and trust in the Buddha Dharma and in the way of awakening that has been passed down to us through the centuries and through great teachers like Dogen and Shunryu Suzuki. We vow to follow the Buddha way and to walk the eightfold path of the Buddha. Our faith and trust in the way of the Buddhas are expressed in what we chant daily and will chant at the end of this talk. The first line speaks of the Buddha way. May our intention equally extend to every being in place with the true merit of the Buddha way. It continues with vows of great faith, and the last line again speaks of the Buddha way, or the way of the Buddhas, Butsudo. So now let's chant together.